For this week, we are not going to look at a song. We are going to look at some of the things that I'd like every bass player to know immediately. In other words, it's something that's really user-friendly, especially if you're getting geared to play in a band. First of all, if you want to learn bass, you need to know the strings. You need to know that the top thick string is E. That's your E string. This one over here. The next string down is your A string. That's my A string I'm pointing at over here. The next string, the D string, going to be that one there that I'm pointing at. And the bottom string is the G string. Okay, we need to know those. Now the reason why we need to know those is because if we know the names of these strings and you know your music alphabet, you can work out all the notes. At the end of the day, if somebody says F, I want to go to fret 1 on the top string. That's F. We need to know that. Okay, and the reason why I'm doing this is I've seen lots of my students, I say, play F, and they say, where's F? And I say, it's there. And they say, oh yeah, there. Okay, so we don't want to know it's over there, we want to know what their name is. This note is called F. Okay, now on the PDF I'm sending through, you're going to have a list of the basic 3 things we're going to cover today. We're going to see that this note is F, this note is G, this note is A, this note is B. And what's interesting here is as we go higher, C for example, the top string fret 8, things start repeating themselves. So those last 3 notes at 5, 7 and 8, those notes of A, B and C are the same as the opening string over here, A, B, C. So you've got repeated notes, we've got duplicate notes, very important to know. So if I need to go from F to C, I don't have to jump up 8 frets. I can go from F to C. Same notes. So again, one more time to revise. F, G, A, B, C. I'm not going to do the entire guitar neck. I want those to be our priorities. And then I want to go to the 3rd string because we count from the bottom, 1st, 2nd, 3rd string, 3rd string. And those notes are going to be open A, B, C, and then we got a new note, D at fret 5, E and F. And here's something interesting as well. You'll notice that between the notes E and F, there's no fret space. In other words, if you go from F to G, there's a fret space where my middle finger number 2 is now indicating. There's F, there's G, nothing over here where finger 2 is showing us. Okay, now where my finger 2 is showing is where the black notes on the piano are. So what you're going to find on a piano, or if you do know piano, is that every now and then it goes white note, black note, white note, black note, white note, white note. And when you got 2 white notes in a row, it's either between E and F, and also between B and C. All the other notes on the piano will have a black note, which is important as a bass player because those black notes are an equivalent of a fret. So between B and C, no frets. C and D, there is a fret. And we'll get later to tones and semitones, but that's a semitone and that's a tone. 2 frets is a tone. 1 fret is a semitone. Okay, so just to revise there. A, know all your notes on your E and A string. I'm not going to cover the D string yet. That's for another video for later when we do octaves. And I want us to know this is F, G, A, B, C. I want to know that this is A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, at fret 8. And I want to know that between E and F, there's no fret spaces between them, and between B and C also no fret spaces. Very important, we need to know the notes. Okay, now the next thing I want us to know as a bassist is your major and minor scales. Again, like we said, the PDF file does show the diagrams for this, but I'm going to play them through once and then I'm going to zoom in a bit closer. Here's your major scale. I'm going to play it from C, which is over here, because C has got no sharps and flats. It's for a little bit of theory. It's going to sound like this. It's your Do, Re, Mi scale. I'm going to focus a bit closer on that as well so you can see it. We're going to bring the camera a bit in there. C major. Notice the finger numbers, very important. Be fret with the correct fingers. Finger 2, fret 3, that is C. And you first play this note, you go to fret 5 with the pinky. Important to get the pinky working. Next string, finger 1, finger 2, pinky again. Onto the first string now. First finger, ring finger, pinky again. So you'll notice over here, each finger has a dedicated, or each fret has a dedicated finger, or each finger has a dedicated fret, same difference. But your major scale, if you play it through with me, nice wide stretch, okay? And here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we want to descend, go backwards. So we're going to go from the pinky now, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that is the major scale. Learn it, know it, don't forget it, please. Okay. Now the next scale we're going to build is C minor. Now I'm not doing the relative minor for those with a bit of theory training. I want to play C minor so you can hear the difference in the sound. And just when I say difference in the sound, the minor scale's got a slightly sadder, darker sound to it. Here's the minor scale starting in C. And here's the major scale so you can compare it. Minor scale. Very different sound here. Okay, now let's just work through that minor scale. And for those that do know a bit of theory as well, like we said, we get 3 types of minor: the natural minor, the harmonic minor, and the melodic minor. This is the natural minor, also referred to as the Aeolian mode. But anyway, here goes C minor, starting finger 1, fret 3. Okay, you can see this on the tab as well. You'll see the diagrams in front of you. So there's a repetitive pattern there. And then we end off the octave. Backwards. And there you have your minor scale. Okay. The last thing we're going to finish off with is arpeggios. Now, obviously on bass, we don't strum because this sounds... Let's be honest, that sounded terrible. Okay, so we play single notes on a bass, we don't strum. Now, if you want to imply a chord, we get a thing called arpeggios. And an arpeggio is when we pick the notes within the chord to a specific rhythm. So instead of going, for example, C, I can imply a C major chord by doing this. That sounds a lot more cool, so I'm actually going to riff. Now let's just look at the 2 basic arpeggios that I want us to get out of this video. It's going to be the major one. We're going to play a C major arpeggio starting at fret 3. We jump across to fret 2, fret 5, it's a bit of a stretch, and then the pinky hops down for the octave. For those that aren't familiar of the term octave, an octave means the same note. That's C. That's C, but they're not the same pitch. We call that octaves. And what's very interesting on bass guitar is that your octave for any note is, if I start here, I go 2 strings down, 2 frets across, going to use the pinky instead of the ring finger, and I got the octave. So start here, 1, 2, 1, 2, and I got my octave like that. So one more time, major arpeggio. And then onto the minor arpeggio, which is going to look like this. We got that. Okay, one more time, starting on C again just to compare. Jumps up to the 6th fret. Ring finger comes in on the 5th. Back to the bottom. And it returns like that. Okay. We need to know these 3 things. So the 3 different sections again that you'll notice your PDF is broken into is going to be, first of all, you're going to have your notes on the guitar neck, I need to know where G is, where D is, for example. The second thing I need to know is my major scale, my minor scale, and then the arpeggios, which will be the third thing, which is going to be the notes that are being played in the chord. So you'll notice if your guitarist was busy strumming away on a chord, these are the notes he'll be playing within his chord. It's the notes that make up or build the chord itself. Here's your major and your minor. Okay, now the fourth and most important lesson for this video, very crucial video, this, learn it, study it. If you're not happy, contact me. You must know this. If I need to change something, like if I want to go from the C major scale to the D major scale, all I do is I take this shape and I play it from D. So you say, well, okay, that's fine. So it's not really a new scale. It sort of is and sort of isn't. It's sort of new because the notes are different, but it sort of isn't because the shape is the same. And this is quite cool because if I need to play G major scale, I'll start with the note G. If I want to play the B major scale, I can play it here or here. So my sequence, my fingers, muscle memory will actually give me the major shape. All I must do, without being rude, excuse the middle finger, is to know where do I start it. So if I started on C, it's C major. If I started on A, it's A major. It's as simple as that. If I look at the arpeggios and I want to play a C minor, and I now need an F minor, I take that sequence of fingers and simply play it here. Okay, need an A minor. So the nice thing with bass guitar is that unlike piano with black and white notes, you learn one shape and you suddenly got 12 variations. So your C major could start from here, C sharp major, D major. Notice that the shape hasn't changed. E major coming up now. But every time the starting point changes, and that's what's unique about bass guitar, is that your shapes don't change. So every instrument has got a strength. Some have got a weakness, like obviously I can't play a 6-note chord on here, it's the design of the instrument. But the strength is, if I know one scale, I suddenly know 12 scales, because the root note, or the note from which I build it, is the important factor here. Okay, we got that. If you're not sure what I'm trying to explain to you, please let me know. These are vital things as a bass player. We have to know this. Okay. Also, I'll try to explain as best as possible in the PDF that's going to accompany this. So if you've got any questions, please again let me know. Otherwise, have an awesome day, and looking forward to hearing feedback from you on this session. It's a very, very important one. I'm going to keep stressing that. And otherwise, have a cool day. Take care.